Hey, how you doing? Good afternoon. Welcome to another time here. Welcome to another time at the book club. It's a Sunday afternoon program to read a book, discuss a book, and we're gonna do this 2 p.m. West African time. And thanks for hooking up. We're presently reading the book, The Good Life. It's a book that was released January of this year, and it's a compilation of a study done by the Harvard School on adult development. They pretty much done a study on adult development, how to maximize the journey, how to get the best out of development, out of growing, right? The things that make for healthy life, longevity, and also the wit, the enjoyment, the happiness, the health, in growing as a adult. And this study has been going on for more than 85 years, so we have the benefit of coming into that study, coming to learn the things that they found out, and pretty much a summary is that what makes for a good, healthy, quality, beneficial, rewarding life is relationship, having the right relationships, and also the quality of those relationships, right? Is the beauty, the vibrancy, the richness of our relationships that make for our good life. That pretty much ties to what we always say, that the relationship is the bottom line of life. We're here to relate. We're here to engage. We're here to for the sake of one another, right? As organisms, everything that takes place on the inside of us is for the intent of the interaction we have with one another, right? Our essence is not in ourselves. Our essence is outside of us. The way we relate with other people, the way we relate with the environment, right? That is why we're here. We're not here for ourselves, right? We're here to relate. We're here to make others better. We're here, scripturally would say that God says that he has created us for good works, right? Those good works are outside of ourselves, are the things we do when we have come to ourselves, when we have come to adulthood, when we have come to maturity, is the way we get to engage with the environment, right? With other people, right? That is why we're here. That's where we get the essence, the legacy of our being here, right? We don't get a legacy by just being out by ourselves. We get a legacy by the difference we'll make to this life, to this world, and to other people, right? And that's what we've been trying to study, trying to learn what they found out from the study, and leaving the benefit thereby, right? So let me bring up my slide and we'll go. We're presently in chapter 5. Last week we finished chapter 4 of the book, right? Chapter 4 is titled Social Fitness, right? We took four meetings to do that, right? Today we'll start with chapter 5. At a minimum, we're going to have 2 meetings. We don't know whether it'll be 3 or 4, but obviously we can't finish it today. So we're going to continue next week. And if we don't finish next week, continue next week, right? We're not in a hurry. We're taking our time to get all that we can extract from what the book has to give to us, right? So I'm going to bring up my slide here and we're going to shoot into chapter 5. And the title of chapter 5 is Attention to Relationships. Attending to relationship, as it were, culturing relationship, nurturing relationship, waiting on relationship, right? That's what we want to look at. How do we nurture our relationships? All right, that goes. Again, the title of chapter 5 of the book is Attention to Relationships, right? So what the first quote that starts the chapter is, the holy gift is a portion of thyself. Just like I kind of introduced at the beginning, right? Every organism prepares interaction with the world, with other people, by what takes place on the inside of us. right? And we'll see Stephen Covey kind of exhibits that to us in his book, right? In his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. You see, the first 3 habits had to do with the preparation within, winning the war within. Then the next 3 habits had to do with winning the war without, right? And the final one is pretty much keeping it all together, right? But you cannot win the war without until you won the war within. You cannot win the war without until you have won the war within. Until you are prepared the inside of yourself. You have come to know yourself, come to encounter yourself. Your engagement with other people will always have a comma. Will always have a comma. It's like people that have problem with relationship, right? If you have not come to terms with yourself, the baggage in your life will always be an hindrance in your relationship with other people. To have the best relationship with other people, you have to also come to terms with who you are, your baggage, right? And address them. Come to fall in love with yourself, right? Come to fall in love. First of all, understand, the question marks in your life and deal with your demons. Because if you don't deal with your demons, they are always going to be an obstacle when you relate with other people. You have to win the war within. You have to come to terms with yourself and find peace in yourself. If you don't have peace in yourself, you cannot have peace with other people, right? So the same way we had Stephen Covey arrange his book, same way, right? When we relate to other people, we give of ourselves. We'll give of who we are, right? The greatest gift, the greatest thing with which we relate with other people is a portion of who we are, right? It's a portion of ourselves, a portion of our life, right? It's not as much as what we have, but who we are, right? When people come and take what we have, they abuse us, right? Those that love us come for who we are. And deep relationship comes from an interaction with who you are, with who someone else is, not what they have or what you have, right? Relationships are from your person to another person, not what you have to what the other person has. Relationship is about 2 hearts, 2 beings, not what you have or what you don't have. It's about who you are, right? So the chapter starts with that quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson: "The only gift is a portion of thyself." Right. And that's why we have some marriages where, people are married to rich spouses, but will then go with a pauper. Because it's not just what the person has. Yes, what the person has its place. Yes, we all want riches, we want good things, but more than what the person has, right? You want that person. You want that person. Right? You don't relate with what the person has. You relate with the person. The person. The person. The relationship is about the person, not what the person has. You're going to get tired of what the person has, but you never get tired of who the person is. Right? That's why you talk about people say they grew apart. They grew apart because they lost focus. They lost focus. They were focusing on what they had and what they did not have, rather than focusing on who they are. Right? So the best way to have to create, if you want to be someone that is socially fit, like we looked at in chapter 4, you have to be someone that knows how to give of yourself. Give of yourself. Give of yourself. And to do that, you have to know yourself. You have to be at peace with who you are. You have to be someone that can draw from the well deep within of yourself and give of who you are, right? To someone else, to be a blessing. You have to be a giver from the well of your life to someone else. Albeit, that's what Jesus Christ said to that woman at Samaria in John chapter 4 in the scripture. But I just try to relate to Jesus in John 4. He talked up to that woman and said, I want to give you water. I'm going to give you of myself, and you would not have to seek for water again. That is the height of a relationship, giving of who you are, being able to draw from the well deep within of yourself to be a blessing to other people. That's why scripture still says that, deep calleth unto deep. Deep calleth unto deep. to have good relationship, intimate relationship, rewarding relationship, healthy relationship. It's you being able to draw from who you are to be a blessing to other people. It's not as much as what you have, it's as much as who you are. Who you are, yeah, will affect what you have, but it's got to start from who you are, not what you have, right? If you're just looking at who you are, then maybe you're trying to buy people's favor, curry favor, you're all about just what you can get, right? But a true relator, one who is socially fit, is able to draw from who he or she is to be a blessing to other people. That's how you can be proficient in being able to create and maintain relationships. Because don't forget, again, when we talk about healthy relationship, life-giving relationship, we'll say it's a place where people come because of what they can give, not what they can get. It's because of what they can give, not what they can get. However, what keeps it together is what they get, not what they give. And we call that a paradox of relationship. Hey, thanks, Pastor Shegun. Thanks. I see you come along. Thank you. Thanks. All right. So when we say, again, just to reiterate Ralph Waldo Emerson's word, it says the holy gift is a portion of thyself. It's a portion of thyself. The way to bless people is to be able to give of yourself. And that's important for me also. I begin to find out, I'm a social influencer, right? I've been on this for years, right? I started my marriage community, that must have been about 2014 plus minus, and we'd grown to 100,000. But somewhere along the line, as we grew, the comments, likes kind of went down. It was like we grew in number, but the engagements reduced, right? And I guess I probably lost myself in the middle of all of that, And one thing I've learned in this journey is that for me to be able to be in a place where I can be in a continuous, never-ending place to be a minister, and not to be a place where I get worn out. I drain myself. Is that place of being able to be a blessing from who I am. It's not as much as what I learn. It's not as much as what I have in my head, but as much as what's in my heart. When my heart is in a place of always being prepared, then there's always a message to give. There's always something to say. There's always something to minister, something to encourage, something to exalt, something to bless other people. So what I do is work in me, not as much as putting it here, but letting it be here. You see, I can only minister from who I am. If I work in the person that I am, then I'm always ready. I always have something to give. I always have something to bless other people with. And the numbers will come, right? The numbers will come. I've been on YouTube since this 2+ years, right? I started the YouTube with my prayer meeting that I get to do on the weekdays. We started February, right? February 2021, we started. So I've been on YouTube for that long, getting to 3 years next February. And I kind of look at the subscriber base, I would have loved it to have grown the same way the marriage community grew, right? But it ain't grown that way. We're 96 subscriber number, but I have to be careful, not to miss the reason why I do it, right? I've had different people come to help me, suggesting how they could help me grow the number. But I'd rather have an organic growth than something that is inorganic, right? Whatever time it takes to grow, it's not as much as the number. It's as much as me being a blessing. It's as much as people getting blessed. It's as much as this being a source of blessing. It's as much as this being something God can use. It's as much as the changed life. It's not the subscriber number, right? It's not the reward I could get from YouTube, but it's about being a blessing. It's about leaving a legacy. When I leave the scene, what would people remember me for? Would I have been a reason why people's life were changed? People became better? Would I have that true relationship and connection with people? Or will it just be that I'm popular and I'm lost, right? So this kind of ties to that for me, because that's where God is bringing me to, a place where I can minister from who I am, not what I know. Who I am, not what I know, right? Not just what I know, but who I am. Everything that I say is something I can relate with, something that is practical in my life, something I'm very much in tune with, something I can, as it were, give examples from my life, something that is working in my own life. I don't want to teach anybody theory. I want to talk about something that's practical. The Apostle John talked about that. What we're telling you is what we have touched. It's not just what it's what we have touched, what we have experienced, and that's what I seek for in life, But going back to our topic, going back to the book, it says the only gift is a portion of thyself. That's the highest gift you can give to anybody, a portion of yourself, right? And bringing down into relationship, we all live life the rat race, and our life can just flow without us knowing it's gone. 2023 is already November. We just have this month and December. 2023 is gone. For someone like me, 2023 is already ended, right? Because my year ends the last day of October. Because what I got to do in November is really give thanks. That's all I do in November. All right. Every year in November, I give thanks. That's my time to give thanks. I spend the month just giving thanks, right? December, all I do in December is prepare for the year to come. So pretty much all I have is 10 years of active work in a year, right? November is devoted to giving thanks. December is devoted to preparation, right? But where did all the months go? Where did all the days go? Can you account for them? Most of us can't. That's what's called that we're on the rat race. If you're on the rat race, time is just passing you by without you knowing that time is going. But that's not life. That's not living. That's simply existing. Life, living is when you can account for every second of your life, every minute of your life, every hour of your life, every day of your life, every week of your life, every month of your life. If you cannot account for it, there is a question mark. You got to be able to account for your life, right? That is maturity. That's what God expects of you. The giver of life wants you to account for it. In scripture, the Bible would say also that, teach us to number our days, that we might apply our heart unto wisdom. Teach us not to take our days for granted. Teach us to value every time that we have, because we all have limited time, right? Nobody's going to live here forever. Nobody even knows how much time he or she has, right? Yet we have to give account for the time that we're given, right? So if we're going to, this is important on a general level, but if you're then also going to talk about relationship, it makes a difference how I've been able to account for our life. I've been able to account for our time, right? So generally, when we talk about time and attention, we use transactional words, right? Like we talk about, we spend time. You look at the word spend time. It's a transactional word, spend time, right? Really, we're spending. We all have a certain limited amount of time. Every time that we use, we're spending from that deposit that God has given to us. For some people, their deposit is 30 years. Some people is 50 years. Some people is 60 years. Some people is 70 years. Some people is whatever. But each time you're using it, you are spending from that you have, right? So when you use time, you're spending. You don't kill time, you spend time. When you while away your time, say you are killing time. What you're truly doing is you're spending time. You're spending from a limited time that you have. And what you spend, you cannot get back. You have lost it, right? And so it's whatever you buy, what you spend, that you also get, right? Because each time you spend is a transaction. You are getting something for the time you're spending. Is either making your life better or making your life not better. Again, also now putting that against what we spoke last Sunday, talking about your social universe. The way you spend your time will determine, what is happening to all the relationships in your life, whether you're making them more life-giving or less life-giving, whether you're working on the important relationships on your life or you're working on those ones that are not important to your life, whether you're working on the relationships that are moving you forward or the ones that are not moving you forward, right? It's a decision. Nothing is compulsory. Everything you do is a decision. You don't have to do anything. Anything you do is because you decided to do it, right? It's a decision. And because you decided to do it, you are responsible for it. Harvest will come. Like Jim Rohn would say, right? When the harvest comes, we all must be matured, right? Whatsoever you get in the harvest, you need to take it as a man, take it as a woman, because it's the result of all that you did, all the sowing that you did. Your harvest is your report card, right? If your harvest is good, it means you did well. If your harvest is bad, it means you did not do well. You need to find out what you did wrong so you can correct it and do better. If its harvest is good, you need to find out what you did so you can do more of it, right? So when you look at 2023, how has 2023 been for you? Has it been a fruitful year? Has it been a rewarding year? Has it been a good year? Whatever that answer is your harvest, right? And you need to take it maturely. It has nothing to do with the government. It has nothing to do with Nigeria. It has nothing to do with the exchange rate. It has nothing to do with your pastor. It has nothing to do with anybody. It has everything to do with you, right? Because you live your life the way that brought about that result. You are the reason for the harvest that you have. If your harvest is good, then go do more of what you did. If your harvest is bad, go do less of what you did and find out the things you should do so you can have a better harvest that you'll be proud of, right? So we do spend time. But the other part to time is, which is like a twin brother or twin sister to time, is what we call attention. When we spend time, we are giving attention to something, but we pay attention by what we spend time on. What we spend time on, we are paying attention to that thing. What we pay attention to, we are spending time on, right? Those are transactional words and they affect our life as a whole. But even in our social universe, they affect our social universe specifically, but they also affect our life as a whole. They affect us emotionally, physically, psychologically, and otherwise, spiritually, right? What we spend time on, what we pay attention to, determine who we become. They have determined who we are. They are determining who we are becoming, right? So we need to be careful about that, as we build, as we build our life and we build our relationship as well, right? So, welcome, Abike. Thanks for coming on an Instagram live. So when we talk about attention, we're talking about the notice we give to someone or something, or the regard we give to something or someone. Also, we're talking about what we watch, what we listen to, what we think about. So those are things we talk about when we pay attention. But when we pay attention, we're spending time. When we spend time, we're paying attention. And whatever it is that we're spending time on or paying attention to will affect our life. It will corrupt our life. It will either make our lives better or not, right? And it will influence our life. It will give power to what we spend time on and will pay attention to, right? So time and attention are something that we cannot replenish. Again, we have only so much time, right? So what we do with the so much we have determines the end of our life, right? So when we do offer time and attention, we're giving our life. We're giving from who we are, right? That which we give is what represents who we are, right? So so attention is the Simeon Reed says that attention is the rarest and the purest form of generosity, right? And anybody in a relationship will know that, right? What we determine as love is the attention we get from our partner, right? You know, if you're matured, you will know that. If you're not matured, you think it's what you give, right? Yeah, what you give helps. It might give an indication that you're giving attention, but it's not whole, and it can easily be deciphered, right? Whether you're trying to buy a favor, trying to buy a relationship, or you are investing into that relationship. If all you give is what you have, then all you're doing is you're trying to buy favor, you're trying to curry favor, you're trying to buy love, right? But you don't build a relationship by buying. You build a relationship by investing. And what you invest is yourself, not what you have, right? And when attention is that which we get to invest to make a relationship better, you know. So Simeon Witt says that attention is the rarest and the purest form of generosity. That is what proves your love. It's not what you can buy. It's not what you can give. It's yourself. It's what you can give of yourself, of who you are, right? That makes a difference in a relationship. That pretty much tells of where your heart, your person is. You know, that's why even before God is going to say, hey, it's not just your offering. You know, in Isaiah, God says, I'm tired of the offering. It smells in my nose. Don't even bring your offering again. Because they were not bringing their heart. They were not bringing their person. They were trying to curry favor of God. But you see, God is a God of love. It's not going to take what you give if you cannot give yourself. You know. So after the flood, Noah gave an offering. Right. But what God saw was not as much as the offering, but the person of Noah. That's what excited God. That's when he began to bless him. Same thing we saw in Solomon. Solomon showed his attention by the multitude of the sacrifice that he gave. What excited God was not necessarily the number, but the attention he gave. Again, that's what differentiates Abel from Cain. Cain just gave anything. Abel chose, paid attention to the offering he was giving. And in his heart, he exalted the person he was giving it to. That's why his own offering was accepted. See, God Almighty takes notice whether you're paying attention to him or not. How much more your spouse? How much more your friend? How much more your children? How much more your siblings? How much more your associates? How much more your business partner? God puts a difference whether you're paying attention to him or not. And he doesn't sell to you his attention. You can only invest into it by giving him of your person. Same way he has created each of us. Your relationship is not going to be better by what you give. It's going to be better by the time you spend and the attention you pay to the person. That's what builds relationship. So if you're going to work in your social universe, you need to know which relationships you want to make better, you want to improve on. And you have to then invest that right so you can get the right result from it. Thanks, Adeola, for coming along. And I believe that's Sonny Adam. Thank you, sir. Great to see you. So again, attention and time, they're the most valuable thing we possess, right? Sometimes for the human soul, a human heart, that's the most valuable thing you possess. It's not your car, your riches, you know, those are like ephemeral things, right? Temporal. What goes deep to a person's heart is who you are. You're being able to spend time with that person. You're calling that person. You're sending that person a note. You're telling that person you are there. You know, when someone is in pain, it's not as much as what you can give. You're just coming to sit down with that person and even saying nothing, just to say, I am with you, right? That's what we're created in the depth of our heart. Our soul is looking for partnership. Our soul is looking for someone to say, I see you. I see you. Just how many people have wealth, but they don't have anybody to say that I see you. I know you exist. You are precious. You are dear to me, right? You make a difference for me. That is worth the world to people. Just to know that someone knows they are there. You know, it was important to me that someone came and gave me a prophecy some years ago. For me, in first person, that God knows me by name, right? That's a heart of relationship. That's a heart of relationship. Don't forget what the summary of this book tells us, that the way to get the best out of adult development is having the right relationships in our life and the quality of those relationships. So everything we're talking about here at the end of the day is talking about how to build relationship and maintain those relationships in such a way that it will affect our life positively. We can get the best result from living. We're not just going to exist, but we'll live. Both the longitude of life and the width of a life, a seasoned life, a life that we are happy that we live. Not just that we are happy, but other people are also happy that we lived. People can give a true testimony about our life, not the fake one, not the crocodile tears. They can truly cry from the depth of their heart that we live. Right? It's not just the length of a life, but also the weight of a life. We can get the benefit of this life. It's possible. And it doesn't matter where you find yourself. It's possible. This study has no limitation to location. Wherever you find yourself, you can live a good life. Right? And it comes by you being able to create the right relationship and have the right the quality in that relationship as well, right? And one of the things that the key things that we use to invest to get that is the attention we give and the time we spend, right? So John Tarrant says that attention is the most basic form of love, right? If I love somebody, then I will give attention to that person. If I don't give attention to someone, I can't say I love the person. All I'm doing is mouthing it. What I love, I give attention to. What I give attention to, I love. It's the same way God says, yeah, don't tell me I love you. You love me. If you love me, you obey my commandment. Because if you love me, you attend to my word. You attend to my person. So if you say you love your spouse and you don't spend time with your spouse, you don't culture your spouse, you don't nurse your spouse, you don't wait on your spouse, you're lying. You don't love her. You don't love him. Because love is shown by the attention we give. Priority is shown by the time we spend. Right? So if we want to maintain the quality of our relationship, then we need to mind that time was I will spend our time and I will give our attention, or I will pay our attention, right? So just to continue along that same line, so time and attention are essential materials for happiness, right? If you're going to be happy, it will be determined by how you spend your time and what you pay attention to. Those two will affect you. Like I said, they're going to corrupt you. You know, what you spend your time on and what you pay attention to, you submit yourself to, because they're going to influence you. They're going to master you. And there's nothing that forces you to spend your time. There's nothing that forces you to pay attention. Every time you spend, every attention you pay, it's a decision. You made a decision to do it, and therefore you'll be responsible for it. You'll be responsible for the harvest you get. Now, if you like the harvest, great. Spend more time on it. Pay more attention to it. If you don't, then you need to make changes. You need to spend less time on it. You need to pay less attention to it, because you're in control of your harvest, not God. God is not in control. God has given us a liberty to decide. We get the consequence of our decision. To change the consequence, we need to change our decision. Then we can get a different outcome. based on the decision we'll make. It's input, output. That's the way God has made it. And God has sworn that that's the way the whole earth is going to run. Nothing's going to change it. It's a principle of God. It's a law of God. It's a landmark of God. It's not going to change. It's worked yesterday. It's working today. It will always work. It's up to us to use it. Otherwise, it will use us, right? So a wandering mind is connected to unhappiness. If you don't have control of your mind, if you're not able to pay attention to the things you need to pay attention to, you're going to be mentally sick. You know what mental sickness is? People don't understand mental sickness. So someone is mentally sick, you think it's when you just go out there, you're 100% mentally sick. No, any depreciation in your mental ability, mental agility is a degree of mental sickness, right? Mental wholeness is a place where we're able to respond at the level and frequency we're created to. And this is the level and frequency we're created to. Each time we see anything, every moment of our life, our mind goes and reflects to the history we have to compare what we are seeing at that point in time to our history, make an interpretation and decide what to do. That is happening every second, every millisecond. Every millisecond. As I'm talking to you, my mind is racing, thinking about what I'm saying, vis-a-vis what I've said before, what I've read. That is taking place, right? It's at an incredible speed. My ability to use all of that data, all of that history, and be talking to you at the same time is a level of my mental wholeness. Now, we see, when I'm not able to control my mind, when my mind is being oppressed by depression, anxiety, my mind is torn all over the place, it reduces my mental acumen, right? It reduces my mental efficacy, and that is a degree of mental sickness, right? It might not be, it just means that I'm not able to use my mind at its optimum position, right? So my ability to be in control of my time, my attention, helps my mental acumen. It helps me to be able to use my mind rightly, right? And helps my mental wholeness as well, right? So Matthew Kingsword and Daniel Gilbert puts it this way. It says the ability to think about what is not happening is a cognitive achievement that comes at an emotional cost, right? And pretty much tying all what I've said, part of what it was said in the book is this. It says that the amount of work we do today is less than what we've always done. However, people are more tired today than they've always been. And the reason is because of the degradation in our mind, because our mind is being oppressed by depression, anxiety. Depression, not being able to forget something that we did wrong in the past, anxiety of the future, right? So our present is being burdened with the past and the future. We're limited in our ability to live in the present. Therefore, that burdens our mind and reduces our mental efficacy, right? So our ability to separate all of this, will increase our effectiveness in our today, right? And our ability to spend time on the things we truly need to spend time on, and pay attention to the things we truly need to pay attention to. So pretty much the things that distract us, our time and our attention, are pretty much distractions, right? And they bring an overstimulation to our mind, and in that sense could interfere in our relationship, right? Because if I don't spend the time I should spend on the things that are priority to me, I don't pay attention to the things that are priority to me, I'm going to lose those relationships, right? The time will go, but I will not necessarily have made better the relationships in my life, right? So we need to work on being able to take away the distractions so that we can focus on the things that are important to us. When we talk about time management, we talk about the need to prioritize the things that are important to us, right? So, and that's what I get to do every day. Every day I have more things to do than the time that I have. So when I go to work, I pretty much focus on the priorities. I do the things that are priority. When I'm done, I'm done. When the time has gone, it's gone. Move it to the next day. Move it to the next day. I always have more than I can do in a day, but I just go eat on the priorities. And when I'm done, time is gone, I'm done. Right. But because I'm responsible for my time. When the week is gone, I cannot give an excuse that I did not have enough time. I am responsible for the result of how I use my time, whether it be economically in the workplace or whether it be in my relationship. I cannot give an excuse because I had a busy week. I did not have time to spend with my children, with my wife. You know, that's in my control, right? That's in my control, how I spend my time and what I pay attention to, right? And in that wise, we talk about two parts of our mind, right? We talked about our mind, right? But there are two parts to our mind. That's what we call the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. The conscious mind is a gateway to the unconscious mind. The conscious mind is said to be about 10% of our mind, and the unconscious mind is about 90% of our mind. Now, the conscious mind is a gate to the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is the workhorse of our mind. The unconscious mind can focus on as many things as you want it to focus on at a time. The conscious mind can only focus on one thing at a time. Sometimes we deceive ourselves and think we're multitasking, but we're not. Nobody can multitask. Not even women can multitask. What we do when we say we're multitasking is we're switching from one task to the other. We cannot do two tasks at the same time. Whilst I'm talking to you right now, I can't do anything else with my conscious mind. However, with my unconscious mind, I'm doing 1,001 things. Like I told you earlier on, as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about what I've said before. That has been done unconsciously and is feeding into my conscious mind. But as far as my conscious mind is concerned, I can only do one thing at a time. That's focused on talking with you here and sharing on the topic that I'm sharing. But my unconscious mind is feeding my conscious mind, right? However, again, the conscious mind is a gate to the unconscious mind. My ability to have my conscious mind under control determines the thing that happens in my unconscious mind. Now, a bit of digression. When people want to do mind control, subliminal control of your mind, what they do is distract your conscious mind. If someone can distract your conscious mind, that person can get to your unconscious mind. That's what you talk about subliminal advertising. So when you see some advertisement that don't make sense, that's what you think that it don't make sense, but it's intentional for it not to make sense because they want your conscious mind to be distracted so they can show to your unconscious mind the real information in that advert. It doesn't make sense to you because it was psychologically put together because they understand the way your mind works. So they get your conscious mind to be wondering about what they are doing. But once your conscious mind is distracted, whatever else you're seeing, your unconscious mind is seeing it. But for as long as your conscious mind is not distracted, you control everything your unconscious mind sees. Whatever your unconscious mind sees controls your behavior. That's what you call subliminal advert. They're showing you something that your conscious mind is not seeing because it got it distracted. But because your unconscious mind saw it, they put in you something that will affect your behavior, though your conscious mind did not see it. This basis called hypnotism, right? Hypnotism is not all of those things they show you in a movie. There's basic of hypnotism. That's how you hypnotize somebody. Hypnotism is simply, it's not putting someone to sleep. Hypnotism is simply distracting the conscious mind so you can communicate with the unconscious mind. That's the basics of hypnotism. That's the basics of subliminal advertising, right? So the extent to which you can control your conscious mind to determine what you spend time on and what you pay attention to is the extent to which you have control of your mind and the things that are taking place in your unconscious mind, right? So I'm going to move on from that. I hope you got that. Hoping you got that. But if you don't, feel free. You can type me a question and we can discuss more on that. So when we focus on one thing, we're at our most thoughtful, creative, and productive state. When we focus, where our conscious mind is sending that information to our unconscious mind, the workhorse of our life. Our unconscious mind is being given an information concerning what we are focused on. Because when we're focused on it, we're telling our unconscious mind it is important, right? And we're sending it on a mission to solve the thing we're focused on. So it then begins to correlate with everything we've read before and 1,001 things. Don't forget our mind also is spiritual. The mind is not physical. The mind is able to do things that are incredible. The mind has a communication with the invisible world. That's what we call an intuitive mind, right? It's the overlap between our unconscious mind and the invisible world, right? God, the spirit world. It's not just God in the spirit world. The devil is there also, right? So, but our ability to focus is our ability to give message into our unconscious mind to get all the information that we need to be productive. And that goes beyond even what we have read, because then it's interacting with things that are beyond even what we know already have stored in. Right? But I'm going to stop there. So attention is the most basic form of love. Like we said, again, repeating that. What we love, we'll give attention to, and what we give attention to, we'll love. There's no excuse around that. If I don't give attention to a thing, I don't love that thing, irrespective of what I think. So if I love something, I will give attention to it. If I don't give attention to something, I don't love that thing. If I give attention to that thing, I love that thing. There's no come go around it. There's no excuse around it. So if I think I love something, it's up to me to give attention to that thing. Because if I don't give attention to it, I am not going to build the relationship with that thing. So whoever it is in my social universe, I think I need to build a relationship with, guess what? I need to spend time with that person. I need to pay attention to that person. That's the only way to build a relationship. It's not by prayer. It's not by wishing. The only way you build a relationship is spending time, pay attention. Spend time, pay attention. That's the only way you show love. No, there's no other way. It's not by praying. It's not by deceiving yourself, right? So attention is the actual stuff of life. It's equally valuable no matter what era or person is, right? Whether it's Z generation, Y generation, whatever generation, love is love. And love is equal to spend time, pay attention. Spend time, pay attention. Whether a person is in the village, whether a person is in America, Russia, love has only one language. Spend time, pay attention. Pay attention, spend time. Same language, wherever you find it, whatever generation, right? You know, another word, synonyms to the word attention is, it's just by when you go to a restaurant and the waiter is there, what the waiter is doing is paying attention to you, right? Before you know, they know you need water. Oh, you need this food. Oh, do we bring this? They are paying attention and reading you. So when we talk about paying attention to something or someone, is that you're able to read both the verbal and non-verbal communication coming from that person. If you cannot read the non-verbal communication coming from that person, you're not paying attention to that person, right? I love a quote I saw earlier on today. It says that when you look at something too much, it can stand in the way of what you see. It's not about what you're looking at. It's about what you see. That determines whether you're paying attention or not. And maybe that's where women get it from when they talk about that, when they expect men to read their mind. What she's saying is, are you paying attention to me? I know I've quoted that, I've preached that they should stop expecting us to read their mind, really. But what they're talking about is not just reading their mind. They know we're not mind readers. What they're really saying is, are you paying attention to me? Are you seeing me? Are you hearing my non-verbal cues? Are you hearing what I'm saying without saying it? That's what she's asking for. That's what she's saying. She's saying, do you love me? Because if you love me, you'll pay attention to me. You will not just wait for me to say it. You'll be able to see it. You'll be able to decipher what I am not saying. And if you truly love me, you will pay attention. That's what she's asking for. And it's well within our right to ask for it. It's well within the right of every human being to ask for it, because that is what love is made of, right? We're not all there. As much as we pay attention, none of us can see all of that, but we need to seek to grow in that wise, because that's how we build relationship. It's not everything someone's going to tell you. But if you pay attention, you will see. You will hear what someone is not saying if you pay attention. Same way the waiter doesn't wait for you to call. They already know you want to call. They don't wait for you to ask for water. They know you want water. They don't wait for you to say, bring the bill. They already know. But they're looking at you, looking at your movement, and they can decipher that. By that, they are seemingly reading your mind, just like a woman wants you to read her mind. What she's saying is not that you should be a mind reader, but you should pay attention. Because who you love, what you love, you will pay attention to that thing. Who you love, what you love, you spend time with. That is how you build relationship. That's how you make your life better. That's how you add more to your life. That's how you grow. That's how you enjoy life. That's how you spice your life out. There are things you can do. Right? So it's a word to nurture, it's a word to protect, it's a word to tend to, it's a word to watch, it's a word to wait on. It is the basic food and water of a living and breathing relationship. If you want a relationship to be better, pay attention. Pay attention. It's what we need, and it's what we all crave for. Every living person craves to be seen. To see a person is to pay attention to that person. Intimacy is intimacy. Intimacy is not just physical intercourse. Intimacy is the ability to see into me. You're only intimate with a person to the extent to which you can see into that person. You can hear the non-verbal cues of that person. That's what intimacy is. If you cannot hear the non-verbal cues of a person, you're not intimate with that person. Whether you're married or not married, your intimacy is to the extent to which you can hear what that person is not saying. You can only hear that if you pay attention, if you spend time with. So if we're going to give attention, we need to be aware, we need to be alert, we need to be ready taking the information, right? You need to look out for it, Again, it's not just looking, right? Yeah, when you look too much, it might stand in the way of what you're supposed to see. It's the eye with which you see. It's not just the looking. You need to look expecting something, right? You need to choose to pay attention as to the information that comes. You need to ignore the distraction, right? And that would help. All right. In closing, I typically run through some quotes. I'm going to run through some quotes here to try and close this. And one of it is by the folklore that says, time waits for no one. We all know that. Time waits for no one. Time waits for no one. Time is going to keep going on. We all have a limited time, but time is not going to say, oh, pause. I want to pause. There are no pause in life. Time is going to keep on ticking whether you go with it or not. Time waits for no one, and we all have a limited resource. Time is money. Money is time, but time is bigger than money. Money you can always get when you lose. Time you cannot get back when you lose it. Right? So time is bigger than money. Even though time is money, money is time. Time is more valuable than money. The key is not in spending time or killing time. The key in life is to invest it. Sow time for what you want. Don't let time pass you by. Sow the time. Sow your day. Sow your morning. Sow your afternoon. Sow your evening. Sow your week. Sow your months. Sow your years for what you want out of life. Be intentional. Be proactive in how you use your time. Right? Time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. Once you've lost it, you can never get it back, right? So when we talk about attention, the simple act of paying attention can take you a long way, right? Jim Brown will talk about being mindful of the obvious. There are a lot of obvious things around us. There are a lot of things your wife is trying to tell you. There's a lot of things your husband is trying to tell you. There are a lot of things your children are trying to tell you. There are a lot of things your siblings are trying to tell you. There's a lot of things your boss in the office is trying to tell you. There's a lot of things your siblings are trying to tell you, but you won't hear it unless you pay attention, right? If those relationships are important to you, pay attention. There's a lot that's been said without them speaking that you're supposed to pick and work on if you want to build that relationship, right? What you do with the attention is in the hand what you do with your life. What you do with what you're supposed to pay attention to, what you're supposed to get and respond to is what you do with your life, right? And so tell me what you pay attention to, and I will tell you who you are, because that makes a difference to who you are. All right, that's all I got for this Sunday. We're going to continue next Sunday to talking about attention to relationships. I hope you got something from this. You know, just to reiterate, we're just talking about attention and time, and there are things we invest to make our relationships better. You know, whether it be a romantic relationship, associate, family, children, church, whatever, God, you know, those are the essential elements, seed that was sown to improve our relationship and life as a whole, you know. So I hope you got something from me. And it's a book we're looking at, and it's The Good Life by Robert Waldinger and Marc Schulz. It's a book that was released in January of this year, and it's a 5-year study on human development. And the conclusion is that what makes for a good life is the relationships we have in our life, the different relationships and the quality of those relationships. And that's what we're all trying to learn together so that we can apply in our own life.